Welcome to RSBN Prime Time, live for you tonight at 6:30 on the East Coast. We're awaiting President Trump to appear in the traditional congressional picnic, and maybe he can convince Senator Rand Paul to switch his nay to yay for the one big beautiful bill. A joy to be with you tonight. I'm Robert McNeely. Thank you for tuning in to the right side of history. All showcasing your government as we see a beautiful sunset right over the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We look forward to seeing President Trump in action. And last night, if you did not catch it, the GOP winning the Congressional baseball game, the annual event that brings staffers and lawmakers alike to challenge one another in a fun, fair game of baseball where the Nationals play. And with the likes of Congressman Rich McCormick of Georgia and other great athletes on the Republican side, the Demon Rats had no chance against the elephant-loving GOPers. 13-2. Talk about a landslide. Kind of reminds me of November 5th of last year when you, the American people, put Donald Trump back in the White House. And thank God for that as we dissect the 50 reasons why this big, beautiful bill should happen. Number 25, it helps American farmers, producers, and ranchers compete and sell products in foreign markets. The bill makes sure American farmers aren't crowded out by foreign imports in liquid fuel production markets. This also holds woke elitist universities like Harvard, the anti-Semitic activities going on at that once great university, accountable by increasing the endowment tax on large universities. It protects hardworking taxpayers by canceling Biden's illegal and unfair student loan bailouts. And something you should do, I got notice myself, you need to get on those student loans if you were waiting, especially post 2020. Very good to do and get that out of the way because AutoPen left all of us confused. Do we pay back? Do we wait? What happens there? But President Trump and his administration very clear on this. Caroline Leavitt saying weeks ago, the White House press secretary in a regular press briefing from the James S. Brady briefing room, you should repay those because you took that money out. It's common sense. We're $36 trillion in debt. Repay on what you borrowed. Common sense for me. It ends taxpayer-funded sex changes. Can you imagine this? Think about this for a moment, that you are a doctor. You sign on to the practice that you would preserve life, that you would not harm life. Whatever practice or specialty you did, even if you're a general practitioner, but you actually had doctors mutilating children. They should go to jail for that, but this ends the AutoPen's disgusting practice of minor sex changes funded by you, the American taxpayer. This reverses the Biden-era mandate that Medicaid covers so-called gender transition procedures, ending the taxpayer-funded chemical castration, the mutilation of American children. Just makes me sick to my stomach thinking about that. It's a once-in-a-generation chance to revolutionize our nation's defense capabilities and protect the homeland against new threats by funding President Trump's Golden Dome, much like Israel has right now, and some other countries in the Gulf states, for example, to protect from these missiles that would go off. Think for a moment, and some great colleagues in the field who cover Israel and what's taken place ever since October 7th, 2023, the terrorist attack that hit so many. And that Gold Dome, there was a national championship of football, soccer for overseas, and this was taking place, and Hezbollah fired rockets towards Israel, the landmass of a similar scale to New Jersey. Think about that. So if you're out watching your favorite sport, enjoying a night out on the town, imagine sirens going off, and then that Golden Dome intercepts it, but the shrapnel can come down and still hit you and your family, especially on a summer night. You're out strolling, having a nice time, enjoying ice cream, maybe after the movies, and something like that happens. That's why we need to stand in solidarity with our Jewish brothers and sisters on a daily basis and pray for the peace of Israel. And we'll be watching that this week. As President Trump said yesterday, he does not know what might happen when it comes to Iran. There is a possibility that Israel is looking at preemptive strikes because of the radical nature of the Ayatollahs and the mullahs. We'll keep you abreast of anything developing there, as we like to thank our sponsors at RSBN, Colonial Metals Group. Gold and silver, your tangibles, those metals that make sense for you, the American people. Whether it's the Chinese Communist Party manipulating their currency, lawfare and warfare against the Taiwanese as they just simply want to live free lives. Look what they've done over here with that crazy balloon that came over our country, that spy balloon during the auto pen. Or all of that prime time farmland that they initially acquired around our military bases or the Confucius Institutes. What are you to do with your retirement and protecting your savings? freegoldguy.com/RSBN. Scan the QR code now. Protect yourself and your IRA and your 401k with gold and silver, 100% tax free. It makes sense in this day and age. Heed the warnings of the likes of Warren Buffett and other people who have done a thing or two and know a thing or two about money. And that's gold and silver. Think about it. Since 1971, the Nixon administration going off that gold standard, gold has only gone up over the course of that time by 7,000%. freegoldguy.com/RSBN, endorsed by patriots like Judge Janine Pirro and yours truly here at the network. We are watching out for you, and the best way to protect what you've worked hard for, Colonial Metals Group. My illustrious, incredible colleague, in fact, Matthew Alvarez, will be having an interview tomorrow, so be sure to check in on that to learn more about Colonial Metals Group. Thank you for sponsoring us on The Right Side of History. And as we look at 637 on the East Coast, it's 337 on that Golden Coast. We hope you're experiencing sunshine and smiles across this great land of the free as we celebrate our Army, 250 years in existence. And we've mentioned it in every broadcast today, but we hope you can join in this weekend as we travel to the federal city of Washington, D.C. A live look there now as God is blessing this beautiful constitutional republic. You see a little bit towards the bottom left of the split screen that viewing point where President Trump will be standing reviewing the troops. This is going to be the biggest, the best, the most beautiful display of military might that we have seen probably since our celebrations in New York City, Victory over Europe Day, Victory over Japan Day, way back when we saw our troops come home with confetti falling from the business buildings, from the apartments, and everyone there in Manhattan enjoying that beautiful parade. We should be proud of it, as President Trump spoke earlier in the East Room during that press conference after the bill signing. Why are we not celebrating all of this when France and Russia and other countries, they have big military parades, but we don't celebrate it? Why not? Because we were back-to-back World War champs. We stopped fascism. We stopped communism. We defeated evil in its tracks. Sadly, we're fighting those same ideologies today. The siren song of socialism that has roughly existed since 1850, starting in a small town in Indiana. So even before the Civil War, socialism was stateside. We saw it grew very ugly during the 1930s at those fascist and communist conferences in Italy during the 1930s, leading to the rise of extremism like Mussolini, Hitler, and Hirohito in Japan, the axis of evil. But it was teenagers and people in their early 20s who stopped them in their path. And we saved an entire continent and, in turn, the entire world. Thank you to those who put on the uniform every day, and thank you to those who are in Los Angeles right now at the orders of their commander-in-chief, President Trump, who did not start any riot, who is not causing racism. He's stopping the criminals, the thugs, the people who are funded by people like George Soros. Enough is enough, and it's time for Governor Newsom and Communist Mayor Karen Bass to just start serving the people that elected them. That's why government is in its place in the first place, to protect the citizens and the residents of this country. People are flying Mexican flags and burning things. Nothing is more disgraceful to watch on the city streets of Los Angeles, the city of fallen angels. So sad to see. But President Trump, as he mentioned on Truth Social, this would have been 10, 11, 12 times worse if he had not intervened. And as I said on my premiere show of The Voice of Reason tonight, Governor Newsom is truly the loser this week. He is the 2025 version of George Wallace, standing against truth, standing against reason, standing against the facts, and standing against the Constitution. He might have some slick hair, but that hair gel might have affected his brain a time or two, because this man is not for you. He's for himself. He seeks to be the commander-in-chief, but God forbid that ever happen. And we'll see what takes place in 2026 and 2028 as you peacefully and patriotically gear up for the next election. We have a groundwork for the golden era, President Trump presenting that, and I'm sure he'll talk on it some more tonight as we await the 45th and 47th Commander-in-Chief to appear in the traditional congressional picnic as we break down the reasons why the big, beautiful bill should pass really in its current form. And President Trump is open to a Senate version of this. So whether it ends up as 2 or 3 bills or different spending measures, we know how important this is to enhance the capacity of America's naval fleet. Number 30 of the 50 lists of why this works for the American people. The bill provides billions of dollars to revitalize America's shipbuilding and maritime industrial base. It also modernizes air traffic control, fulfilling President Trump's plan to completely overhaul the systems that keep Americans flying safely and efficiently. This also strengthens SNAP benefits. The legislation requires states to contribute a greater portion of the costs of administering those portion of benefits, thereby controlling the costs and closing the excessive broad loopholes for work requirements. So much of what's taken place over the course of the first term of President Trump and now into the second term is getting rid of these horrible regulations. If you remember, rewind back to 2017, for every new regulation, you had to cancel at least 2 or 3. That got the economy going once again, and bringing down that corporate tax rate from 39% to 21% really spurred this economic engine that is the United States of America. And quite frankly, no commander-in-chief did it as well, really, since President Ronald Reagan. Now, this also implements critical program integrity and cost containment provisions in Medicaid to strengthen it for future generations. These include removing deceased individuals from the program and limiting retroactive coverage from 3 months to 1 month prior to enrollment. This also safeguards Second Amendment rights by removing tax and registration requirements for firearm silencers and eliminates silencers from the National Firearms Act. It provides critical disaster recovery funding to farmers, producers, and ranchers. This also provides funding to rebuild America's military. We've seen nothing quite like it over the course of the last few months, with recruitment really skyrocketing, going through the roof. We saw how excited all of the troops were at Fort Bragg, North Carolina yesterday. President Trump brought out the traditional dance with the YMCA. It was like a Trump rally at Fort Bragg, and everyone loved it. And you heard the cheers, the hoorahs coming from the Army for their Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, as he opened it up for President Donald Trump. Thank you to our sponsors on the right side of history. President Trump signing that executive order to bring down the cost of pharmaceutical drugs for you, for your family. But one pharmacy is not stopping. They're online, and their doctors work around the clock to get it right to your door. That's All Family Pharmacy, and you can get all of their great products at allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Now, this is prescription medications that simply pay less at the end of the day. Scan that QR code now. Use code RSBN20. That's 20% off for ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, methylene blue, all of those essential medications, in fact, over 200 of them, so you can stockpile your cabinet. There's no excuse in this day and age to be unprepared, especially given the natural disasters, the chemtrails, the things that the far left may want to do, like shut down your access to these life-saving medications. So I know what I will do. I know what you should do. It's rush over to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN and get those emergency medical kits, the antibiotics that can save your life in case you're stuck inside your home for a period of time. Think about this for a moment. If your wife has high blood pressure and then she runs out of the medication and you did not prepare, and then it's Sunday night, or your child has a fever and you can't get to the grocery store, the urgent care, your pharmacy down the street. God forbid that happens. So where allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN can literally come in and save your life. No insurance, no hassle, just peace of mind. Doctors working around the clock for you, the good American people. Pay less for your medications at allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Use code RSBN20 now through June 30th. Yes, that is 20% off of your entire order. Thank you for sponsoring us on the right side of history, as this one big, beautiful bill provides funding to rebuild all of America's military, but it also expands those health savings accounts to give Americans greater choice and access and flexibility in how they spend their money. Not too shabby, right? Because when you look at this, most of us across the country, we're middle class. We're making around that $30,000 to $80,000 mark. Hopefully some of us more, especially now in the golden era, that you can have more of that take-home pay that doesn't have to go to your taxes. And think about those that are working in the service industry. Now no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on senior benefits, which we're living longer. And really, you don't need to gut Medicaid or Medicare. The demon rats are lying about that, saying the GOP is taking that away. No. They simply want to put into place the reforms of Doge and Elon Musk to get illegal aliens off of these benefits. We are the most generous nation in all the world, and President Trump said as much from the Oval Office this week. We are so excited to welcome the new legal immigrants who swore that oath to the United States. That's how it should be done properly. Not through an open border that had fentanyl pour through it, that had criminal gangs and foreign terrorist organizations like MS-13 and Tren de Aragua come through. All meanwhile, demon rats like Jelly Belly Pritzker and Newscum and crazy Tony Preckwinkle to Debbie Wasserman, whatever her last name is, Schultz, more like, you're an idiot. We don't need you anymore to just be talking on your soapbox about God knows what. What about Maxine Waters in Los Angeles, or Jasmine Crockett? She's my favorite. Wow, talk about someone who has a trouble speaking the truth on a daily basis, but rather would throw out cheap insults and really degrade the honor and the privilege it is to serve in the United States House of Representatives. Well, I'll get off my soapbox for a moment because I'm tired of the winning, quite frankly. President Trump delivering on promises made, promises kept, just like Newscom said all those years ago during those initial wildfires in Central and Northern California. But this one big, beautiful bill gives $10,000 bonuses annually over the next 4 years to Border Patrol and ICE agents on the front lines. It incentivizes scholarships that empower American families and students to choose the education that best fits your needs. And if you saw our earlier coverage from this afternoon, Senator Ted Cruz, you had Representative Burgess Owens of Utah, of course, Ohio's favorite son, the legend at the University of Wisconsin when it comes to his wrestling days, Jim Jordan, without the suit jacket, addressing the people in Congress today about school choice, how important that is for the American people. It's all about the 10th Amendment and states' rights. And the demon rats will say that's some sort of dog whistle. No, it's not. The states are allocated certain powers because they can do it better. We know that Thomas Jefferson designed this government along with our founding fathers to argue for state and localities, township government, the government closest to the people to do the bidding, because you can go and knock on the door of your neighbor who's serving in that role. And if they're not doing a good job, you can run against them and deliver for your neighbors. A little bit harder to do when dealing with the federal government. Even the late, great Alexander Hamilton, the Secretary of Treasury, the original, the OG, if you will, he wanted a strong centralized government right there in the federal city. But with what the demon rats and the globalists have caused in the neoliberal and the neoconservative agenda over the course of 30 years, he would be rolling in his grave. And I don't like to speak on behalf of those who have passed, who have let this legacy of great constitutional republicanism, not the party, but law and order. That's what it's all about. And even the early Federalists and the Democratic Republicans of the time, the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists alike, or those with no party or third-party movements, would all agree that we did not create a government for a king, but rather three co-equal branches of government, intending, if you look at Federalist number 51 by James Madison and also Federalist number 78 by Alexander Hamilton, both penned in 1788, the judiciary is supposed to be that is the weakest, that actually is simply deciding whether or not it's constitutional. But we've seen that the demon rats have a hard time winning elections lately. And they have to cheat, lie, and steal in order to get into office. And wow, ever since Roe v. Wade was revoked, the correct decision, because it was invented over 50 years ago by the federal bench, it's really been a downward spiral for them, because they can't win unless it's legislating from the bench. That's what they seek to do, and that's why they're having a temper tantrum. But if you do have a demon rat that does represent you in Congress, why not pick up the phone peacefully and patriotically and ask their office, why are they refusing to support with 214 votes in the House to stand against this one big beautiful bill? It's amazing. We'll see where Chucky Schumer's demon rats stand in the Senate, but I'm sure their blockade will not succeed. Number 40, this also repeals Democrats' insane attack on the gig economy, ending the requirement that Venmo, PayPal, and other gig transactions over 600 be reported to the IRS, because at the end of the day, the federal government should not have to know where you're putting your money. You should be able to be free to do so and not have Venmo spied upon. Seems like common sense to me. It reforms and streamlines the federal student loan program to drive down tuition costs and simplify repayment plans. This includes reasonable limits on amounts students can borrow. This also strengthens accountability for students and taxpayers on federal student loans. The bill imposes skin in the game requirements to hold universities financially accountable to the government on defaulted federal student loans. And this will help to bring down the national debt. This is a goal, a lofty goal, but a goal I think this team can achieve. We are $36 trillion in debt. There is only one president who scaled back in totality the federal deficit. His name was Andrew Jackson, the original people's president, really the founder, co-founder of the Democrat Party. But Democrat, demos, is Greek for of the people. We know they no longer represent the people. Really, have they ever since the Civil War? History will argue that. But right here on the right side of history, we argue positive populism, pro-family, pro-you, the American worker in the middle class, and we want to be there to advocate for you. As we thank our sponsors on the right side of history, angelpaste.com. You've seen me try it on the show. The Miracle Cream, the OG of creams. Forget the store-bought nonsense you see just down the hall or down the street. Why even bother wasting gas to drive there in the first place when you look at the back of the bottle and it has all those chemicals and that just junk that's involved in it, not good for your skin to absorb. Worry not with angelpaste.com, a Christian-based veteran hiring company out of that Lone Star state of Texas in Spring, the Houston Metroplex, just off of the Gulf of America. They know a thing or two about mosquitoes with that tropical environment, especially in the summer. Well, they have a natural mosquito spray that you can use while you're out having your great American celebrations this summer. Just grilling out with family or friends, getting ready for Flag Day on Saturday, or even the big bold birthday, the 4th of July, coming up in a couple of weeks here. They also have the orange option. It's infused with vitamin C's. So good immunity boosting qualities in their products. Also a facial spray. Hey guys, it's okay. I'm telling you, you can use these products too. It's not just for the ladies out there, and you will still be able to grip that tackle box as you go out in the early mornings or late evenings to catch all of those big, beautiful fish on the lakes, rivers, and streams of this great country. I'll be out there at some point very soon, and I'll be using Angel Paste in the meantime. So experience the miracle today at angelpaste.com. Thank you for sponsoring us at RSBN. We are nearing the 7 o'clock hour on the East Coast. Good evening. Welcome to RSBN Prime Time. I'm Robert McNeely. I'm always so in love with you, the great American people, to commune with you in this special way. Although I'm looking straight into the camera with no teleprompter, I feel like we're all together, just like we were on the campaign trail a few short months ago. Can you believe the last year has been such an exciting one, such a consequential one, something that none of us have ever really seen. To see assassination attempts so up front and in our faces, like what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, then the return that took place. And you loyal viewers who stuck with us, I think back to that very first rally of 4, the day before the election on November 4th of last year, saying goodbye to you in that Tar Heel state of North Carolina, such a beautiful state. Those 7 swing states that we perused and toured and traveled miles and miles in by plane, train, and automobile. It was an exciting time, and we can't wait to be with all y'all come Saturday once again, Flag Day. We hope you could be in our nation's capital for an exciting military parade that only this president can really provide. And he answered the question today from a dear friend of mine in the media. He said, Mr. President, there are so many complaints out there, and don't worry, this gentleman, he's on the right side of history as well. But he asked President Trump, hearing all these reports that you're a king, and he said, you know what's really funny about that? Well, if I was a king, why would I be on the phone with House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune as often as I am trying to pass this one big, beautiful bill? It seems as if I were a king and not in a constitutional republic, I just say, do what I say because I'm king. I don't think there's a better communicator of this White House, of the agenda of making America great again, than the actual commander-in-chief. And sometimes that's a surprise because we've had presidents who can't even tie their shoes, let alone put 2 sentences together. But this gentleman, each and every day, comes out there swinging for the fences with a smile on his face and with a media that is grateful. That's the dirty little secret of those in the media, whether right, left, or center, if they have a bias or if they pretend to be journalists. We don't hide away from where we stand here on the network. We are opinion, we are op-eds, we are hosts, we're also anchors and journalists and writers of the written word, analyzers of the great government you put into place. And we'll give credit where credit's due. For example, it was awesome to see Senator Amy Klobuchar. She came to her senses from Minnesota and teamed up with Senator Ted Cruz at the ask of none other than our beautiful First Lady, Melania Trump, for the Take It Down action, that bill that became law. And she signed her name right under President Trump's signature in the Rose Garden a few weeks ago to protect those, especially minors, who are exploited online in a sexual manner. No one should be taken advantage of, especially this revenge porn that's out there. Nothing could be more belittling, and people have paid the price, the consequence of having their image sometimes put on someone else's body. Think about that. And you're walking the halls of your high school and ridiculed like that as it's shared over and over and over. And as you try to apply for jobs or colleges, those institutions thinking that that's you. That's the scary side of AI. As much as we're looking at this, and as much as Vice President Vance, I'd like to echo his words, his optimism for artificial intelligence, like any other technology, using it for the good. So important these days. And it's actually funny to bring up that topic because I'm going through a Bible study with friends right now, and we're actually looking at the encyclical of the last Leo, so Pope Leo the 13th, that this Pope aptly took his name from when he became the Supreme Pontiff of the Catholic Church just a month ago. And they have serving at very interesting times, going from the late 19th century into the early 20th, and now well into the 21st century. But with all this technological advancement, where does human ingenuity meet moral standards and clarity? Something interesting to read and to reflect upon in our current day as we await for President Trump to appear in the traditional congressional picnic right there at the White House. You could catch a little glimpse there on the left-hand side of the White House box. That's the viewing platform where President Trump will be standing from. We'll be right there as well on Saturday to take in all of the action with this military parade that will be second to none. I'm excited to see it, and I hope you join us right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We hope the weather holds off a bit. It's supposed to be a rainy day in the federal city, but right now, look at that lush green, a beautiful summertime soiree, if you will, once again at the White House, as this staff is literally working 5 to 9. I have so many friends that are blessed to be there working hard for you on a daily basis, and they share the positivity on social media, and I am living vicariously through them as we are covering the ins and outs of the Beltway, inside and outside. And a programming note for you: if you have any suggestions as we seek to be your voice out there in the wilderness, if something's going on in your neck of the woods, let us know about it. Feedback at rsbn.tv, feedback at rsbn.tv. Whether it's on the live desk, recorded, we want to hear from you, the great American people, about what's happening so we can advocate for you on a daily basis. You know as best as anyone, it's not Republican versus Democrat. It's rather we the people, the positive populist movement against the deep state globalist League of Shadows, those evil demon rats that are in the nation's capital. They're trying to pry their way through this golden era so they can line their pockets and hang out with cocaine junkies like Otto Penn's son. We don't need any more of that in our federal government. We need virtuous people, and that's who you elected to be there at the White House and in the halls of Congress. Get all America First updates and exclusive offers right here at rsbnetwork.com/newsletter as we implore the Congress to pass the one big beautiful bill. It implements critical reforms to Pell Grants to make sure they prioritize students who truly need financial assistance while promoting completion. The legislation allows grants to be used for short-term, high-quality workforce training programs to support Americans who want to learn a trade instead of the traditional four-year colleges. And I can remember even my education. I'm so proud of it. So proud to have attended the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and for what I learned there and how I grew into the person you see today, with all of the dear friends and people who challenged me on that campus. Thank you, because that's what college is supposed to be about. But the four-year experience may not be for everyone. They might like to work with their hands. They might want to learn a trade or an apprenticeship and then make gobs of money right out of learning about how to do these things in as short as a year to 18 months. I think that's a pretty good idea. And this idea out there that someone else other than American residents and citizens will want to do that, Nothing could be further from the truth. So don't listen to the naysayers. Listen to what you're good at and what the good Lord is calling you to do, and you'll be on the right track as we thank our sponsors here on the right side of history, Kalshi.com/RSBN. Right under my chin there, if I turn this way, you'll see that QR code. Kalshi.com/RSBN. Trade on the most important events, as well as all of those bets and the questions that are facing American society at this day and time. So will egg prices continue to go down? Will the LA Dodgers repeat and be back-to-back World Series champions? Will Dana White host the biggest, baddest UFC of all time? Among other questions, including international questions we had happen recently before Mr. Carney was sworn in as the new Prime Minister of Canada. Questions like, who will be that person to serve in that role? So much to dialogue and discuss while trading and betting on those most important topics. Kalshi.com/RSBN, your go-to. Thank you for sponsoring us on the right side of history. So there's one big, beautiful bill increases timber sales on federal lands. This means an increase in timber production and improvement to forest management, improving the resilience of timber and saving billions on future wildfire suppression costs. It also authorizes the sale of expanded spectrum MHZ to strengthen rural broadband and secure America's technological dominance in AI and other emerging technologies. We know that Vice President J.D. Vance was overseas in France for this AI conference, talking about how important, how critical it is to the future of civilization. This also creates permanent fees that illegal immigrants must pay for their applications, so American taxpayers aren't saddled with covering these costs. We've seen this from hospitals to emergency rooms and in the education sphere. How fair is that residents have to pay for someone else? It doesn't make a lot of sense, especially those 4-star, 5-star hotels that were housing these illegal immigrants during the Auto Pen administration. These fees will cover and bring in over $77 billion to cover adjudication costs and fund immigration processes and enforcement actions. This also protects family farmers, and the bill prevents the greedy death tax from hitting 2 million family-owned farms who would otherwise see their exemptions cut in half, and cut taxes on farmers by over $10 billion. This also ends abusive financial practices in Medicaid by freezing existing provider taxes and prohibiting the new provider taxes. This ensures that states cannot improperly increase the federal government's cost share of a state Medicaid program at the expense of taxpayers. And President Trump today also signing into law the end of the California EV mandates that would have bankrupted the Golden State by 2035. And thank God for that, because people deserve a choice. You should be able to go purchase that electric vehicle, but it should be of your decision making, not forced. What a way to skyrocket inflation. So it makes me want to go buy a big, beautiful Ford F-150. And you know what? While I'm at it, maybe the EV version of that, because it's now my choice, the consumer's choice, and in turn, those costs will be brought down in the process, as we're now getting a live look of the traditional congressional picnic. You know, President Trump will be speaking as well to senators and congressmen right there on the south lawn of the beautiful White House. What a gorgeous evening. Right there outside of the Blue Room. That is on the Truman balcony. Wouldn't you just love to have a cigar, perhaps a mocktail, or even your favorite cocktail sitting right there? Or for President Trump, of course, a Diet Coke, maybe without the cigar, to enjoy a beautiful sunset evening in our nation's capital. That would be a blast with the seal of the president, our American flag, and that big, beautiful presidential flag right there. President Trump will be speaking to members of Congress, and he said he might try to get to swing that vote of the toughest vote in the Senate, Mr. Rand Paul of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. He is invited. In addition to his beautiful wife, Kelly, she is an absolute gem in her own right, speaking on many issues facing our great country. Also the author of several great books about family, about doing what's best for the country. And that couple, then them in and of themselves, just a nod to them for literally surviving attacks on countless occasions. The man was literally mowing his lawn with his headset on, and his neighbor tackled him. Do you remember that story? Or during the Summer of Love, which was really the Summer of Hate from that really hate-filled communist group known as BLM. They used something catchy that no one would disagree with, but turned it into a communist organization that wanted to destroy the nuclear family, that wanted government to control you, that wanted equal outcomes without people working hard for it. But we saw through that. President Trump has seen through that. And when he gave that speech, the Republican National Convention acceptance in 2020 during COVID from the South Lawn, if you could remember that big, beautiful celebration, they were leaving Senator Rand Paul and Kelly Paul, his beautiful wife, walking down Pennsylvania Avenue when the mob went after them. And if it was not for security and Secret Service, perhaps they would not be here. So they have sacrificed their due diligence, their own safety, their time, honor, and treasure on behalf of this great constitutional republic. So I see Rand Paul as one of those modern founding fathers. I know President Trump, speaking highly of him today as well, that he got him elected on 2 different occasions. And I feel like they can come to an agreement here to pass this big, beautiful bill in one form or another, as it's close to 7:12 now on the East Coast at the White House in your federal city of Washington, D.C., as we await President Trump to appear in the traditional congressional picnic. This one big, beautiful bill we're discussing reins in the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This brainchild of Senator Elizabeth Warren, otherwise known as Pocahontas, has long functioned as another woke, weaponized arm of the bureaucracy, with minimal accountability nor oversight. So that will be changing in the future with the one big, beautiful bill, the passage of this that leverages its power against certain industries and individuals disfavored by the so-called elites. And we know the truth of it. The George Clooney types, the Katy Perrys of the world, oh, bless her heart. They are not the elites. You are the elites. You who built this nation. You whose stories inspire us on a daily basis. Even Senator Bill Cassidy today of Louisiana speaking earlier that his parents did not even receive a proper education, but demanded that of him. And he ended up going to medical school, a son of poor farmers from South Carolina, the Palmetto State, and he is now a United States Senator. Think about that recent picture of Vice President Vance, our wonderful and beautiful Second Lady Usha Vance, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio with his lovely wife Jeanette, and the first American Pope from Dalton, Illinois, just south of Chicago. All 3 of their stories. Only in America can that happen, with that vision of servant leadership, of working on behalf of your neighbor, of breaking bread with those that you might even disagree with. That's the day and age we're living in. And there's actually, I think, a live shot there of the good Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky. I can recognize his curly hair. When I don't do all this right here, it actually gets kind of curly like his. So maybe I'll share our picture from a decade ago together where you see some curly hair. People are saying, are you guys cousins? Are you brothers? This one big, beautiful bill that is being debated right now rolls back harmful Biden-era regulations that increase costs and administrative burdens with limited flexibility for the states. These burdensome regulations, such as federal staffing mandates at nursing homes, led to closures, reduced access to care, and increased costs, particularly in the areas already overwhelmed by labor shortages. So there's 25 through 50 in the reasons why this one big, beautiful bill will save the day. because without passing it and signing it into law, we're in deep, deep doo-doo. We're going to have some of the highest taxes in American history, on top of the mandatory spending that will go down by $1.7 trillion that will be erased if this does not come out in one shape or another. As we await President Trump to appear on the Truman balcony to this beautiful celebration tonight, what a lovely evening at the White House with the sun setting on congressional staffers, White House staffers, members of Congress in the House and the Senate. And I always love this bird's eye view, this egg nest, if you will, of looking for some good, dear friends and colleagues enjoying their night in Washington, D.C. There's nothing like summertime in our nation's capital. So I hope that amongst the vacations you have planned with your family members, that Washington, D.C. is on that list. This is your federal city. It's something that your students and your children should learn about, to go see the museums, to see our history and everything that has made nearly 250 years of greatness in the finest form of constitutional republicanism that the world has ever seen. And we have staved off threats. We have fought the evils and the extremism of the 20th century. And we now are still fighting some of those perverted ideologies like fascism and communism and socialism. But it's going to be right-wing populism. It's going to be common sense that will save the day. And actually, that gentleman right now, well, they're panning that video away. It's a friend of mine. He's a former state representative, Joe Mitchell of Iowa, a great man, one of the youngest ever elected, in fact, to the State House of Representatives in Iowa. Now let's go live to the White House, President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump.
Thank you very much. This is a beautiful day. It's a little warm, but that's the way we like it. And this is beautiful Republicans and beautiful Democrats. We have them both. And it's nice to mention them in the same breath, frankly. And I'm delighted to welcome all of the members of the House and Senate and your beautiful families. It's a great honor to have you at the White House, and to the annual White House Congressional Picnic. A long time it's been going on. I want to thank our magnificent First Lady for putting together this wonderful evening. There are too many friends, frankly, to mention all of them. We have so many of our congressmen, and we have some senators in here. I have to tell you, they snuck in, but that's okay. They wanted to be here. But I just want to thank all of you, and I want to, in particular, thank Speaker Mike Johnson. He's doing an incredible job. And all of our other colleagues on both sides of the aisle for your service to America. That's what it is. It's service to America. For more than half a century, the White House Congressional Picnic has served as a special night for Republicans and Democrats to put politics aside, if that's possible. Is that possible? I think so, right? For at least about an hour, and come together with our families and give thanks and privilege to all of those people. And I want to really, in particular, thank all of the people that so beautifully serve our country. And that's exactly what you're doing. Everyone here works incredibly hard, and your loved ones, they make just these tremendous sacrifices, enormous sacrifices, frankly. And I want to thank you all. The exceptional dedication to our country is unparalleled. We're gathered at a truly exciting time for our nation. The USA is now the hottest country in the world. They just came back from the Middle East, and the King of Saudi Arabia and Qatar. We have a great leader of Qatar, as you probably know, and UAE, all leaders, great leaders, frankly, and they all said the same thing. They started off, they said, America is the hottest country anywhere in the world, and it is. And if you think about it, 7 or 8 months ago, we were cold as ice. We weren't hot. We were a laughingstock, and now we're hot as can be. They all respect us. We actually came home, you'll be happy to hear, $5.1 trillion we brought back with us from the Middle East. So that's an all-time record by far. But the USA is now really on a path that's I believe, unparalleled. Trillions of dollars of investment are pouring in. Incomes are soaring. Grocery prices are way down. Gasoline prices are way down. Energy prices are down. Mortgage rates are down. And inflation is down. Other than that, how are you doing, right? They've been talking to me, do you think you can get the prices down? We did it, every single one of them. And last month, we cut the trade deficit. You saw that 2 days ago. It was just announced. The trade deficit was cut in exactly half. And that was all done in a period of 4 months. So we've reduced the number of illegal border crosses, and you know that because you look at the numbers, and 99.999%. Last month, there was 3 people got across, 3. So I did a good job in 2016, but we did an even better job right now, and it's been amazing. We have to get a little cooperation for some people, but a lot of bad people were let into our country. We're getting them out, and we're getting them out fast, and I think you know that. They came from jails, prisons. They came from mental institutions, gang members. We're getting them out very fast. You're going to be very happy when you see the results. The recent months, we've even come together as a bipartisan basis and on a bipartisan basis with the help of our great First Lady to pass the Take It Down Act, protecting our youth from exploitation. And I want to thank you, Melania, and thank you, everybody out there. When I saw that bill pass bipartisan, I said, you know, I think you're going to take my job, Melania. You'll get a little We don't get so much bipartisan. So she didn't know why. She said, why is that? I said, there is no reason for it, but you did it. Congratulations. That's a great job. But as a result of these many other historic wins for the American people, a majority of Americans now believe our country is on the right track for the first time in over 28 years, according to a very prestigious poll. 28 years it has not been. And this is the first time in 28 years, and it'll only get better when the Senate passes the one big, beautiful bill and Congress sends it to my desk on the 4th of July. We're shooting for the 4th of July. I think it's going to be the most important piece of legislation that our country has passed in many, many years. On Saturday, we're coming together to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States Army with a grand parade, a military parade that I don't think we've ever seen the likes of what you're going to see. I hope the weather's okay, but actually if it's not, that brings you good luck. And that's okay, too. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the tanks at all. It doesn't affect the soldiers. They're used to it. They're tough, smart. Next year, when we're all together again, we will be celebrating the 250th anniversary of the American founding. We founded our country. They founded our great people. Our great past founders have done a fantastic job, and we'll be cheering on Team USA in the World Cup. So we have the World Cup coming. We have the Olympics coming. And maybe most importantly, we're going to celebrate a whole year, 250th anniversary. You know, the Army is exactly 1 year older than the country. So that was interesting. We did a speech yesterday at Fort Bragg, and it was really something, the display that they put on. I truly believe the great times are ahead for America. So once again, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank every single person in this group, Democrat, Republican, or a couple of independents out there. They say they're independent, but they're not that independent. But I want to thank everybody in the audience for being very special. I know every one of you, and some by reputation and some by just knowing them. And you're fantastic people, and you have great families. And without the families, it wouldn't work for you at all. So I just want to thank you very much for being here. Have a great night. We're going to have plenty of fun. Have a really fantastic night. And nobody's going to be cold tonight. You're going to be very warm tonight because it's a little on the hot side. But just enjoy yourself. And again, really happy birthday to a truly great country. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
and a bipartisan event as President Trump participates in the congressional picnic, and I'm sure he'll be whipping some votes, especially in the Senate, to have that one big, beautiful bill on his desk by the 4th of July, our birthday, as we see the dashing, the daring members of Congress and congressional and White House staffers all catching a glimpse of the 45th and 47th Commander-in-Chief. Is there any better time to work in Washington, D.C. than now? The golden era where we are making our country great again, bigger and better and bolder than ever before. And it's a lovely evening with some beautiful music, I'm sure great refreshments, and some of the best food that you could probably ever enjoy right there at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. You know, there's a fun fact about the White House. It's almost as if the first family, and I did not know this until the Obama years, they actually have a running tab month to month. So something like this, or even their own personal use of their own kitchen, will just go onto expense cards that are basically frozen in each and every administration. So an interesting little factoid there for you on this Thursday evening. As you will not want to miss the coverage, we'll be heading to the federal city in a matter of hours now to enjoy the big, bold, beautiful parade that President Trump had mentioned as he is participating tonight in this congressional picnic. It's really been a week of celebrating the Army, 250 years young, the first defense they made at Lexington and Concord, just miles away from Boston, Massachusetts, which really seemed to be the headquarters, the center for everything that started an American revolution that brought together 13 separate colonies that had differences. And by differences, I mean grand differences. And we saw that in the Second Continental Congress and the arguments that took place in those early days. But what united them was taxation without representation, having the fact that there was no due process. Imagine being a respected business person in Charleston, South Carolina, at the time Charlestown, and being hanged because you were suspected of speaking against King George III, the maniac king that he was, would just simply have you hanged without due process in front of your family members in order to intimidate, in order to quiet a revolution. Well, these people, these good people came together as President Trump spoke of tonight, our founders. We would be making them proud, the likes of the founder of our country, the true father, George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, our first four presidents and also founding fathers, perhaps the greatest statesman, Benjamin Franklin, and also people like John Hancock, with a signature that could compete with just about anyone else. Well, of course, there's President Donald Trump, who signs every single letter, and I love listening as he signs an executive order or a bill into law, and you hear ksh, 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 and it's a beautiful sound as freedom and liberty and deregulation being brought to you, the American people, in real time. And I'm sure President Trump will be whipping those votes as First Lady Melania Trump, looking beautiful as ever the last couple of evenings, enjoying Les Mis at the Kennedy Center. Now a beautiful congressional picnic tonight on the South Lawn of the White House. And perhaps there's no more beautiful executive mansion in the entire world right there in front of the Truman balcony. Probably my favorite shot of the White House, and that's where President Trump is, or takes off if he's ever going on a trip en route to Joint Base Andrews via Marine One to get aboard Air Force One to continue making America great again. And let's go in live now. It looks like the Navy Sea Chanters are performing, and let's catch some of their music on this beautiful evening in Washington, D.C.
I won't forget. yourself off the ground. I said, young man, cause you're in a new town. There's no need to be unhappy, young man. There's a place you can go. I said, young man, when you're short on your dough, you can stay there, and I'm sure you will find many ways to have a good time. Everybody do it now. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything that you need to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. It's fun to stay at the YMCA.
just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. Took the midnight train going anywhere. any longer. Feel the rhythm of the music getting stronger. Just your body to try to do that conga beat. Baby's got some moves. Feel the fire of desire as they dance the night away. 'Cause tonight we're gonna party till we see the break of day. Better get yourself together and hold on to what you got. Oh, oh. 'Cause the music hits your system. There's no way we're gonna stop. Come on, everybody, do that conga. Don't you take a choice any longer. Feel the rhythm of the music getting stronger. Don't you gotta try to do that conga beat. Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. No, you can't do yourself any longer. Feel the rhythm of the music getting stronger. Don't you body till you try to do that conga beat. Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. Yeah, thank you all so much. Once again, with the United States Navy Band Cruisers, we're going to bring up our friends, Country Current. Come on out, everyone. MU1's Caleb Cox and MU1 Pat McAvinney.
Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to the White House Congressional Picnic. We're having a blast today. Hope y'all are too. Girl, you taught me how to hurt real bad and cry myself to sleep. Taught me how this town had a dream. Another lesson about an angel that came to Babylon. They found out that the pie don't taste so sweet. Now it's guitars, Cadillacs, hillbilly music, lonely on the streets and I call home. Yeah, my guitars, Cadillacs, hillbilly music, the only thing that keeps me hanging on. Oh, pick it now, son. Well, there ain't no glamour in this tinsel town, or longs and wasted life. Faithful stars are all that's left of me. I wanna thank you, girl, for teaching me brand new ways to be cruel. Trying to find my mind now, I think I'll just leave. And now it's guitars, Cadillac, hillbilly music, lonely on the streets that I call home. And my guitar's Cadillac, hillbilly music, it's the only thing that keeps me hanging on. Play it one more time. Guitars, Cadillacs, hillbilly music, the lonely, lonely streets that I call home. And my guitars, Cadillacs, hillbilly music is the only thing that keeps me hanging on. It's the only thing that keeps me hanging on. It's the only thing that keeps me hanging on. Merle Haggard for you. Well, I'm tired of this dirty old city, and tired of too much work and never enough play. And I'm tired of these dirty old sidewalks. Think I'll walk off my steady job today. So turn me loose, set me free, somewhere in the middle of Montana. Give me all I got coming to me, and keep your retirement, your so-called Social Security. Big city, turn me loose, set me free. I've been working every day since I was 20. Ain't got a thing to show for anything I've done. And there's folks who never work and ain't got plenty. Making times guys like me could have some fun. So turn me loose, set me free, somewhere in the middle of Montana. Give me all I got coming to me, and keep your retirement, your so-called Social Security. Big city, turn me loose, set me free. Yeah, big city, turn me loose, set me free. Well, you swear you've had enough, you're ready to give up on that little line of call up. Get out of the blue
just letting it all hang out. She's a brick. Come on, girl. House. That lady's stuck, and that's a fact. Ain't holding nothing back. Ow, she's a brick. House. Well put together, everybody knows this is how the story goes. She knows she's got everything that a woman needs to get a man. Yeah. How can she lose the stuff she used? 36, 24, 36. Oh, but a minute ain't. But she's a brick house. She's not in my tail. Just letting it all hang out. She's a brick house. I don't like this back and that's a fact. Ain't holding nothing back. Ow, she's a brick house. Let me tell y'all something. She's the one, the only one, been like an Amazon. The clothes she wears, the lovely ways, make an old man wish for younger days. Yeah, yeah. She knows she's built and knows how to please. So now can knock a strong man to his knees. She's on a wreck. She's about to body to let it all hang over it. All right, fellas, can we bring it all down? Bring it on, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. Shake it down, down. Shake it down, shake it down, down. Shake it down, now. What's that woman name? Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. Oh, breathe. Oh, eh, 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 eh.
Even the Democrats are all smiles tonight as President Trump participates in the congressional picnic with our beautiful First Lady Melania Trump. Some great music by the Sea Chanters. And look at that sunset over the White House, your house, the People's House at 8:04 Eastern. It's 5 o'clock somewhere on the Golden Coast as we cheers to law and order. Thank you, President Trump, for sending in the National Guard to deal with what the communists have attempted to do, destroy the golden state of California. We won't let them. And in fact, we'll have on many experts over the coming weeks and months to discuss how we can retake the golden state for liberty lovers like you and me as we celebrate on this beautiful evening, Thursday, June 12th, 2025. A great bipartisan event tonight. I saw a number of those staffers and congressmen and members of the cabinet from that great peach state of Georgia, as well as many others. We saw Senator Rand Paul with his beautiful wife, Kelly. I'm sure President Trump and him discussing those last-minute changes to the one big beautiful bill, something that must be passed and hopefully will get to his desk by the 4th of July. So we thank you for enjoying time with us this evening. Lots of coverage today, lots of breaking news as we have to head on over to that airport in the coming hours and travel to the federal city. We really hope you will tune in this weekend to the big, beautiful military parade to celebrate 250 years of the United States Army. President Trump already has the party off to a great start, having visited Fort Bragg, North Carolina this week, breaking out the YMCA and his great dance moves, and those awesome members of the military going wild, seeing their president and their Secretary of Defense cheering them on and laying out the Trump doctrine, peace through strength, being so lethal and ready that, God willing, we will never have to use that great power bestowed upon not only our military knowledge, but the technology that we do have. But as President Trump has said this week and today in the East Room, post-bill signing, why don't we have these parades more often? We are back-to-back World War champs. We saved a continent. We saved the world. We saved France, and God knows France and Russia just celebrated with those extreme leaders from around the world a military display to celebrate the end of World War II and their defeat of Nazi Germany from the Eastern Front of the war. But people like Xi Jinping were in attendance, and other communists and fascists from around the globe to watch that military display, something Vladimir Putin has literally put on display against Ukraine over the course of the last 3 years. We know that terrible conflict would have never happened if President Trump was still in the White House. But that's why you good people at home put him back at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue to solve these problems, to save Western civilization against crazy leaders like Vladimir Putin and Vladimir Zelensky, who really need to stop and let their people thrive. Over 1.5 million now, civilian and military, perishing because of that conflict. And God forbid any more begin. We know that this president, the last resort, he's willing to use it, but does not want any kind of war to break out. And in his first term, it was truly the most peaceful 4 years in the modern era. No new wars started. No more of the neoliberal and the neocon agenda building up the military-industrial complex that General and President Dwight D. Eisenhower once warned us of. The people who want to solely line their pockets, in the meantime, they don't care who they send in harm's way. They don't care that those other great soldiers and Marines and sailors have to bring back those honorable flags to Gold Star families to say goodbye to the ones they loved. I've been on those planes, and there is nothing more moving, but nothing that brings out heartache and that gut-wrenching that you can experience on a trip when there's a fallen soldier aboard the plane with you, whether it's a domestic carrier or even international. Our thoughts and prayers with those brave souls who choose to put on the uniform. It's an all-volunteer service. So anytime you see a police officer, a state trooper, anyone in the military, just stop and say thank you. Maybe pay for a coffee, grab a beer, just sit down and have some fun and thank them for the immense service, because more often than not, they're putting their own American dreams and goals on the back burner to defend this great civilization, 250 years young, and they are willing to put themselves on the line day in and day out to make sure that their community is safe. And imagine a job like that. I'm very fortunate. I get to put on the suit and talk to you about politics and culture and what's happening in the government you put into place. It's an essential role, but I don't have to worry about necessarily getting shot at and not questioning whether I'm going to come home at night. These people have to on a daily basis, and they will choose to run into the firestorm, to run into danger in order to save lives. It's courage that we should be grateful for on a daily basis. And our good friend Rob Schneider, the great comedian, hopefully we can have him on the network soon, talking about this at the Hollywood Improv recently, laughing about the fact that you have a month in June dedicated to a certain practice in life. But no, you just get Memorial Day. Oh, just one day. If you die for the country, you just get one day. Oh, Veterans Day, oh, you just get one day. If you've served the country, we should think about these good people every day. As we see that barbecue smoke coming up from the South Lawn of the White House, President Trump participating in the Congressional picnic. And I'd like to thank my beautiful mom. It's her birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Mom. And there is my wonderful stepdad. That's my favorite picture of them with Muskie, their dog. He's a Havapoo, so it's a Havanese and a poodle. He looks cute. He's a little teddy bear dog, but this dog will rip you to shreds. He has somewhat of a short man syndrome, but I love him dearly as well, although he has bit my hand open a couple of occasions, but in his old age, he's getting a little bit more docile. So happy birthday, Mom, and happy Father's Day to my wonderful stepdad, Bill Clark. When you think you know everything, and I thought I knew everything graduating college, this gentleman came into my life, into our lives, and he has been nothing but a blessing. And they have taught me what it truly means to celebrate marital fidelity and love in an extraordinary way. And they are truly a gift to all they come into contact with. Their friends are very blessed, and in return, always a joy to be with them. So I look forward to celebrating with them in the near future. Get all of your America First updates and exclusive offers at rsbnetwork.com/newsletter. And that's where you can find all of those great writings and in-depth analysis of what's happening inside the Beltway and outside of the Beltway. And we look forward to seeing you this weekend. June 14th is Flag Day, and it's going to be a big, bold, beautiful parade, a military parade put on by none other than your Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump. And although he's been very humble over the course of the last few days, it also happens to be his birthday. So happy birthday in advance, Mr. President. You look better than ever, and thank you for creating this golden era. We look forward to celebrating with you over the weekend. So stay tuned and stick with us here on the right side of history. My esteemed colleague, the magnificent Matthew Alvarez, will be in studio tomorrow. I'm off to Washington, D.C., but stay on the right side of history and have a wonderful evening with those you love. We'll see you Saturday. Good night. God bless. See you in a few.
Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network, your trusted conservative news outlet. At RSBN, we deliver the truth when the mainstream media falls short. Since 2015, we've proudly broadcasted every single one of President Trump's iconic MAGA rallies, bringing you the excitement and energy live before anyone else. By watching RSBN, you get an unfiltered front row view of the action on the ground. We interviewed the crowds to give a voice to millions of Americans just like you. We show you President Trump's speeches in their entirety, free from interruptions and censorship. We cover the stories that matter to you with the integrity and passion you deserve. Thank you for choosing RSBN as your home for America First News. Together, we stand strong, united, and informed. So join us and be part of the right side of history.
Hey y'all, it's Silk from the Diamond and Silk Chit Chat live show. Look, don't forget to check me out right here on RSBN Network. Be sure to watch the show on Right Side Broadcasting Network, and I want you to support Right Side Broadcasting Network. Yes, it's imperative that you do so, okay? I look to see y'all soon. Bye-bye.
You've heard how hard it can be to get access to medications like ivermectin, all the things they don't want you to take because they're actually effective and they don't cost all that much, right? You've seen that one before. So it's critical to have something like that on hand for any emergency and to be prepared in a time of crisis. And that's why I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're cutting through the nonsense and they make it easy to get hard to find medications when you need them most. They'll provide the prescription, no hoops to jump through, no waiting room, no hassle, and they deliver it right to your door. All Family Pharma even lets you order in bulk so you can stay ahead of the curve. Head over to allfamilypharmacy.com for 10% off your first order. Again, allfamilypharmacy.com. It's simple. Get the 10% savings. Be prepared.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.